vanished into the darkness. In the peaceful, rural landscape of northern Vermont lies one of the most perplexing missing persons cases in American history. The disappearance of 17-year-old Brianna Maitland is a haunting enigma that continues to grip true crime followers and investigators alike. It's a mystery with no confirmed crime scene, no clear motive, and no witnesses, just a series of puzzling clues and a sense of unfinished tragedy. On March 19, 2004, Brianna vanished after finishing her shift at a local inn, leaving behind a scene that raised more questions than answers. Her car was found the next day, eerily abandoned, and crashed into a dilapidated farmhouse. The sight sent chills down the spines of locals and law enforcement alike. Yet no one has been able to determine what happened to her. Today, we examine the facts, explore the theories, and honor Brianna's memory in our ongoing search for the truth. Chapter 1. Who was Brianna Maitland? To understand the weight of Brianna Maitland's disappearance, you first need to understand who she was: a vibrant, ambitious, and fiercely independent teenager growing up in the rural landscapes of East Franklin, Vermont. Born on October 8, 1986, Brianna was known for her intelligence, her wit, and a quiet confidence that set her apart. She had dreams, real dreams. She wanted to go to college, see the world, build a future. She was artistic, loved to draw, and had a deep love for martial arts, even earning a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She wasn't a girl easily scared or intimidated, but like many teenagers, Brianna faced growing pains. She wanted independence and moved out of her parents' home shortly before her disappearance, staying with friends and working multiple jobs to support herself while studying for her GED. Her decision to live on her own wasn't a sign of rebellion. It was a testament to her determination. Everyone who knew her described her as kind, hardworking, and full of life. The idea that someone like Brianna, strong, driven, and loved, could simply vanish shook her community to the core. Chapter 2. The Last Day, March 19th, 2004. March 19th started off as a promising day for Brianna. That morning, she took the GED test she had been preparing for, a critical step toward fulfilling her academic goals. Later that afternoon, she spent time with her mother, shopping for clothes and joking around. Her mother recalls the day vividly. There were no signs of distress, no strange behavior. Brianna was lighthearted, in good spirits, and excited about the future. After their outing, she returned to the home of her friend Jillian, where she had been staying. That night, she drove her car, a green 1985 Oldsmobile, to her job at the Black Lantern Inn in Montgomery. She worked her shift as usual, washing dishes and serving tables. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary to her coworkers. At approximately 11:20 p.m., Brianna clocked out and told a colleague she was heading home, but she never arrived. Somewhere between the Black Lantern Inn and her friend's house, just a short drive away, she disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind nothing but questions. Chapter 3. The Eerie Crime Scene. The next morning, something strange caught the attention of a passing motorist. On a quiet rural road in Montgomery, Vermont, Brianna's car was found, but not parked on the shoulder or hidden in the woods. It was backed into the side of an abandoned building known as the Dutchburn House. The rear of the car had struck the house, causing minor damage. The scene was chilling. The driver's side door was slightly ajar. Inside, Brianna's paychecks, contact lenses, migraine medication, and other personal items were left untouched. But Brianna was gone. Initially, the car was towed without much investigation. Police didn't immediately consider it a crime scene, a decision that would later be criticized harshly by experts and her family alike. With no evidence of a struggle and no witnesses, authorities didn't know what to make of it. But something about the positioning of the car, awkward, almost staged, left investigators deeply unsettled. Why would she back into the building? Was someone else driving? Or was it a cover-up meant to mislead? Chapter 4. delay, confusion, and lost time. One of the most heartbreaking elements of Brianna's case is the delay in reporting her missing. Because she didn't live with her parents and often stayed with friends, her absence didn't raise alarm immediately. Her friend Jillian thought she was staying with family. Her family assumed she was with Jillian. Days went by. It wasn't until March 23rd, 4 days after she vanished, that her mother reported her missing. That's when authorities connected the dots. Her abandoned car had already been found. But by then, the Dutch burn house had not been treated as a potential crime scene. No fingerprints were lifted, no DNA samples were taken. Any trace evidence that may have existed had likely been compromised. In a missing person case, the first 48 hours are crucial. In Brianna's case, the clock was ticking, and those early hours were wasted. This misstep set the tone for the entire investigation, and her family would spend years pushing back against miscommunications, false leads, and the frustrating limits of small-town resources. Chapter 5: A Violent Encounter Before Disappearance. Just weeks before she vanished, Brianna was involved in a physical altercation that some believe may be connected to her disappearance. At a local party, Brianna was assaulted by a young woman named Keali Lacrosse, someone she had known from school. The fight was caught on video, a disturbing scene in which Keali punches Brianna, who falls to the ground and sustains a concussion and facial injuries. Brianna filed a police report and considered pressing charges, but never followed through. The reason for the attack remains unclear. Some say it was over a boy. Others hint at deeper tensions involving jealousy or intimidation. Many believe this confrontation may have been a warning or retaliation linked to something larger. Did Brianna know something she wasn't supposed to? Was this part of a wider threat? While Keali was questioned by police, no evidence ever surfaced tying her to the disappearance. Still, the fight remains a suspicious and ominous prelude to the tragedy that followed. Chapter 6: Drugs and Dangerous Associations. As investigators dug deeper, darker rumors emerged. Some of Brianna's acquaintances were reportedly involved in drug activity. It was suggested that Brianna may have witnessed something: an overdose, a deal, even a murder, and that knowledge may have cost her. Several individuals in the area had violent reputations and ties to the local drug trade. One tip claimed Brianna was being held at a drug house in nearby Berkshire. Police raided the location but found no trace of her. Another more grotesque rumor alleged that she had been murdered and disposed of on a pig farm, a horrific theory never confirmed. Former friends and acquaintances came forward with disturbing stories, but nothing ever led to an arrest. Investigators faced a wall of silence. People were too scared to talk. And with no body, no crime scene, and no witnesses, the case stalled. If Brianna had crossed paths with the wrong people, those secrets were buried deep, along with the truth of what happened that night. Chapter 7: DNA, a Flicker of Hope. In 2016, after years of cold leads, investigators announced a breakthrough. DNA had been found inside Brianna's abandoned car. This DNA did not belong to Brianna and was submitted to CODIS, the National DNA Database. Though no match was immediately found, the discovery breathed new life into the case. Forensic technology had advanced significantly since 2004, and the hope was that eventually, the unknown profile might match a suspect, a felon, or even a distant relative through genetic genealogy. The revelation was both exciting and frustrating. It confirmed someone else had been in the car, but still didn't explain who or why. This clue could be the key to solving the case, or just another piece of an unsolvable puzzle. But for the Maitland family, it was hope, real, tangible hope that someone would finally be held accountable. With cold cases being solved through familial DNA every year, the clock may yet bring justice. Chapter 8: A Family Frozen in Time. For Bruce and Kelly Maitland, life has stood still since 2004. Every day is a battle between grief and determination. They've turned their pain into purpose, founding a nonprofit to help families of other missing children, and continually advocating for Brianna's case to stay in the public eye. They've followed every lead, every rumor, no matter how outlandish, in the desperate hope that something will break. They don't want revenge. They want closure, to know what happened, to bring their daughter home. The not knowing is the hardest part. It leaves them suspended between hope and despair. Brianna's room remains untouched, a time capsule of a life interrupted. Her posters still hang on the wall. Her favorite books still sit on the shelf. For them, she is not forgotten and never will be. Chapter 9: The Legacy of an Unsolved Case. Nearly 2 decades later, Brianna Maitland's story continues to haunt the true crime world. Her case is a symbol of the devastating impact of lost time, poor communication, and small-town fear. The image of her car against the Dutchburn house has become iconic, a symbol of a life paused mid-sentence. Her disappearance remains one of Vermont's most mysterious cold cases, and it continues to spark podcasts, documentaries, and online investigations. Law enforcement says the case is still open, still active, still being pursued. New tips come in every year, but justice and closure remains elusive. Her legacy is now shared with thousands of families who live in the painful shadow of the missing. Brianna Maitland was not just a missing girl. She was a daughter, a friend, a dreamer, and someone who deserves to be found. Chapter 10: Ongoing Theories and Public Speculation. In the years since Brianna's disappearance, theories have continued to multiply. Some people believe she was abducted by someone she knew, a so-called familiar killer who used trust to lure her. Others argue that her disappearance was random, a tragic encounter with a stranger or predator on a dark, rural road. Then there's the theory that Brianna may have stumbled upon illegal activity, possibly drug-related, and was silenced to protect dangerous secrets. The lack of physical evidence makes nearly every scenario plausible. Online communities have picked apart every available detail, dissecting the crime scene photos, analyzing her friendships, and retracing her final known steps. True crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths have dedicated countless hours to trying to solve the case. But while public awareness can help, it can also spread false leads and confusion. What's clear is that someone, somewhere, knows what happened that night. Whether it was a calculated act or a terrible accident, silence has protected the perpetrators for far too long. Chapter 11: Law Enforcement Efforts and Missteps. The Vermont State Police have maintained that Brianna's case is active, and they continue to receive tips from across the country. But the early handling of the investigation, particularly the failure to treat the car as a crime scene, severely undermined efforts to collect forensic evidence. Over the years, the police have interviewed dozens of individuals, followed leads into other states, and coordinated with the FBI. In 2012, they even brought in cadaver dogs and ground-penetrating radar to search areas around the Dutchburn house. Despite their efforts, no new physical evidence has emerged. The FBI classified the case as a possible abduction and suspicious disappearance, indicating foul play is suspected. Still, with limited resources and no solid witness testimony, every step forward is slow. The Maitland family has pushed for continued pressure and has worked with private investigators when official efforts fell short. Every missed opportunity has widened the gap between truth and justice. But the case isn't cold, not completely. Chapter 12: Psychological Impact and Community Shock. Brianna's disappearance didn't just devastate her family, it left a permanent scar on her community. In small-town Vermont, where everyone knows everyone, the idea that a teenage girl could simply vanish without explanation shattered the feeling of safety. Parents became more protective. Teenagers grew more anxious. Schools discussed safety in a way they never had before. The case created a ripple effect of fear, trauma, and caution. And for those closest to Brianna, her friends, co-workers, and extended family, the psychological toll has been unbearable. Many describe nightmares, guilt, and years of therapy trying to process the loss. Some blame themselves for not seeing signs or for assuming she was okay. Brianna's story is a grim reminder that darkness can exist even in the most peaceful places, and that no community is immune to tragedy. It also reveals how unresolved trauma can linger, consuming not just individuals, but entire towns. Chapter 13, The Hope for Closure. Despite the years, despite the grief, despite the silence, hope remains. Advances in technology, particularly in forensic science, mean cases once considered unsolvable are now being cracked open decades later. The DNA found in Brianna's car may one day be the clue that breaks the case wide open. Families of the missing often say they don't need justice as much as they need answers. To know where their child is, to know the truth, to be able to say goodbye. For Brianna's parents, even the smallest piece of information is valuable. Someone knows. Someone remembers. Someone is holding on to a secret that could bring peace to a family frozen in time. Cold cases have been solved 20, 30, even 40 years later. And the Maitlands continue to believe that their daughter's story is not over yet. And neither is the search. What happened to Brianna Maitland? As we close this episode, we ask again, what happened to Brianna Maitland? It's a question that echoes through every corner of her hometown and beyond. Someone knows the truth. Maybe they've stayed silent out of fear. Maybe they believe it's too late. But it's never too late for justice. If you or anyone you know has information, no matter how small, please contact the Vermont State Police. Your voice could be the one that brings Brianna home. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Help us bring light to the dark and keep Brianna's memory alive. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop seeking the truth.